What's up, everybody, and welcome to Love Her Melanin, where we celebrate all things that are Black and feminine. It is so great to be back. It's so great to be back on YouTube. If you're watching me on YouTube, it's so great to be back on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, all them things. It's been a cool little minute, but I'm excited to get back into the groove of things and to get started on our regularly scheduled programs. So today, we are going to be talking about something that has really irked my soul for a long time, and it is language. I talk about this. If you follow me on TikTok, if you don't follow me on TikTok, follow me on TikTok because I do a lot of shorter versions of these rants on there. Um, I was talking about people being embarrassed to learn their native languages. Um, it's something that is very near and dear to me because it took me a long time to embrace speaking my native language, which is Ashanti Tree. I'm from Ghana. And it's something that I wasn't ashamed of, but it was like I was embarrassed because I'm not a native speaker, so you hear it when I speak. And sometimes I'll mess up the grammar, sometimes I'll mess up the pronunciation of words, and sometimes it even sounds a little bit funny. But it's something that I rant about all the time because it's so important to learn your language because African languages are dying out, bro, at a faster rate than any other language. I don't know the exact statistic. If I can find it, I'm gonna put it somewhere. Actually, let me Google it because some of you guys might not see it. Pause. We're gonna Google. We are going to Google languages rate of African. Take a moment, please. Dying out. We have my iPad here. I've had this iPad for 4.5 years. Um, this was a study done by the International Policy Digest.org. They're saying that indigenous African languages are dying out, and it's a good thing. Oh no, so sorry. We're not doing that. Um, yeah, but African languages are dying out. I'll find an exact quote or something later on. But African languages are dying out faster, and it's because we're learning our colonizers' tongue. Like there are people who live in that country, Ghana, who don't understand Tree, they don't understand Fante, they don't speak Hausa, they don't understand Ga, they don't understand Ewe, they don't understand anything, bro. And it's scary because it's like they live there, bro. Like even my friends were telling me like in school they wouldn't allow them to speak Tree or Ga unless they were in the Tree or Ga class. And that's so sad. Like and that's really bad. And then you have other countries coming in and teaching their native languages to the point where like for example like a lot of like kids who will be in like the village, they will be taken to like these schools like Chinese schools and they'll only speak English and Mandarin. Like they won't know their indigenous language, and that's so scary and so sad. And that's why I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you don't understand anything. Learn your language because that is one of language, food, and music. Those are the easiest things to pass down if you don't live in the country itself. You can pass down language, you can pass down food, you can pass down music. Certain customs, it's hard to learn because you don't live there. Certain folklore, you might have heard it or you don't live there. Certain dances, but music, language, and food to me are the three easiest ways to pass down um, a culture. And learning a language is so important because if let's just say you marry outside of your culture, now that's one component that's completely lost because the only common language between you and your partner might be English. And now your kid doesn't understand either of their native languages. They only understand English because that's how you and your partner speak to each other. I don't know if you guys know who the Cabs family are. They're a UK family. You've definitely seen them. Like the father and his daughter in the car, and she's like singing the different songs. Adorable. The father's from Congo. The mother's from Ghana. The kids understand Tree, English, and Lingala. That's amazing. That's beautiful. The father is Congolese. The mother is from Ghana. So we love that. We love that. Keep encouraging your kids to learn their language. Me personally, my parents spoke Tree to me my entire life. I just would respond back in English. That's why when people begin besides themselves and in discourses about people speaking English and whatever, what have you, I don't participate in those conversations because I was one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I would respond back in English because I grew up in the suburbs. I was always around white people, and being from somewhere else wasn't cool. So, but we're gonna get into that something else. So I didn't really like, my parents spoke to me, I didn't speak back. So that was an advantage for me because I grew up hearing Tree, and I also grew up around my family, like my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. So it was like I always had the language around me. It was just up to me to learn it. So when I was in college, I had a lot of Ghanaian friends. So that's when I started speaking Tree with my Ghanaian friends. And that's when people, like, I say, oh, I've only really been speaking Tree for 4 or 5 years now. They get shocked because they're just like, oh my gosh, wow. And I'm like, yeah, because it took practice. And it also takes a hit to your ego a little bit because people will laugh at you. And that's what my next point I'm going to get into is being shamed for being incorrect. I actually had a conversation about this with my mom a couple weeks ago, and I was telling her how making fun of someone trying to learn their native language is not cool. Like, I had a friend, she's Haitian, and she's like, to me, her Creole is perfect. But of course, I'm not Haitian. So to me, if you can form a cohesive sentence, it's gonna sound great to me. But when she goes back to Haiti, they'll like make fun of her accent, they'll make fun of her how she pronounces certain things, maybe some of her grammar. Like for me, if you're talking fast, I tend to stutter sometimes. So I'll slip over certain words, I'll stutter, um, I'll have I'll mispronounce something I might say. And the thing is with tree, like stuff like tree, another language I can think of off the top of my head is like Yoruba, French, Spanish, a lot of languages really. Like if you like some two words can sound so similar that the slight mispronunciation of it can mess up like what you're saying. So like a a I'm stuttering. So like when you're trying to say your family, like you're saying abusia, right? Abusia for. But if you say busia, I think is what Kojo was saying. That's like a thief or like a crazy person. So like, and I think it's in fancy if you miss say abusia, you can you can end up insulting someone. So that's also why being shamed for being incorrect is counterproductive. Because now if I walk around outside miss saying words, people are gonna look at me like I'm crazy, and people are gonna look at me like I'm disrespectful when I really don't know what I'm saying. So back to the conversation of what I was saying before. I had a conversation with my mom, and I was saying like when I was growing up, speaking Tree was not an option for me because every single time I would say something, people would laugh at me. And my mom automatically kind of jumped to the defense of, well, we're not laughing at you, we're laughing because it's cute and it's funny. And I was like, I understand that, but as someone who's receiving that, that might be what you meant, but that's not how the person takes it, right? So if you're talking about, oh, I'm mispronouncing words and it's cute, some people are able to take that and just be like, okay, how do I say it? Some people are really sensitive and that ruins it. And then they grow up and people are saying, oh, you got born in the US, it ruined your this, it ruined that. It's like, no, they tried, but they were picked on. And then people my own age mates, bro, I meant to like I was typing like Shrenijimi, but I typed the Nijimi no NII. So that's like, that's a name. So like especially I think it's in the Ga language, Nii ni is like a name. So I misspelled it. And my friends spent a good 30 minutes just laughing at me. Now, granted, I laughed too because it was a silly mistake and it was funny. But I'm thinking to myself, if I was 15 or 16 and that happened, that would traumatize me. Call me sensitive, I don't care. That would mess me up because it's like, okay, now I'm never doing it again. Because that's embarrassing. And I just want to call on to, I'm going to speak for Ghanaians in general. Stop laughing at your people, especially even if you're going to laugh, right? Correct them. Tell them how to say it right. There was a young lady who was speaking Tree at her wedding. It was her Ghanaian wedding. I forgot what the phrase she said was, but she was given the microphone to say something, and everybody in the comments was just laughing at her. Just laughing at her. One of my friend's TikToks went viral, and we were in it. And I guess they didn't, the people in the comments were like, oh, this Trina, and you're nice, and you're nice. And I'm just kind of like, what do you gain from doing that? And you're going to be the same people who try to insult people saying that they don't know their culture or they don't know how to speak the language. Okay, help them. And even if you don't want to help them, then just don't speak. Like, if you're going to insult them and then tell them, okay, no, this is how you say it. That's it. You say, if we don't say it, oh, it's a problem. If we do say it, we don't say it to your liking, it's also an issue. No, This is how languages die, because you're discouraging people from speaking their language, and then they're just not passing it on to their children. It's so important to keep onto these cultures. You don't understand. In a few generations, that's how cultures die out. You have kids walking around saying things like, "Oh yeah, I'm Dominican, but my parents never taught me Spanish." So like so badly wanting to assimilate into US culture. It's like, "Oh, my parents never taught me Spanish." So and then they have kids and their kids don't know their Spanish. So by the time you have grandkids, they don't know, like, what's the point of them jacking the Dominican Republic if they don't know anything about it? You know what I mean? So I always say, like, learning your language and understanding what it means is so important. And if you're going to tease someone, and then that adds to their trauma of not even wanting to claim their culture in general, because now it's like, okay, well, I don't know the language, I don't know the customs, I don't live there, so what's the point? So if this is you, if you are someone who has felt shame trying not to learn their language, um, it's okay. I know it can be kind of nerve wracking. It's okay. Um, you don't have to listen to them. It's gonna bother you because you're gonna speak your language in a room full of people. And I'm just saying Tree because that's the language I speak and my family speaks. But the same thing is for Ga. And a side note, if you're one of those Ghanaians who come on the internet and try and tell people that if they don't speak Tree, they're useless, stop it. It's not funny. Tribalism is not cute. It's not funny. Everybody in Ghana doesn't speak Tree. Yeah, it's not. That's the one collective language that most people understand. But to assume that someone should speak Tree, otherwise they're not a real Ghanaian, that's weird. If that's not what you meant when you said that, fine. But it's not funny anymore. Let's please cut it out. Moving on. Yeah, so I just want to say, please learn your language. It's so important. I don't care if you're 40 and you never understood a lick of Spanish, a lick of French, a lick of Creole. You never understood freaking Portuguese or whatever your native language is. Learn it. Learn the language. I promise you, it is never too late. And I don't care what anybody tells you. It is never too late. Learn your language. It is so important so you can pass it down. Learn your language. Learn it, learn it, learn it, learn it. Even me, I thought I understood Tree till I went to Kumasi. That's some real tree right there. They start talking, I thought I got it, and then I get lost. It's okay. You will learn. And don't be afraid to get laughed at. They will laugh. I wish they would stop. I wish they would laugh and correct you. They don't. So, but just, still, that's why I always encourage my friends to speak it. I don't care if you mispronounce it. I'm just going to tell you what it is. Or I'll ask you, oh, do you know what this means? And then I'll just explain it to you because I know how it feels like to be laughed at. For years, I didn't want to learn my language. Had I started when I was young, I might be a native speaker now. But we start when we start, and I didn't start speaking Tree till I was 19. So we start when we start, and then we move on. So when it comes to tools, now I'm telling you, learn your language, learn your language, learn your language. How? If your parents never spoken to you, you're an adult living in the real world, and you don't know how to speak your language. How am I going to do it, Jazz? You just keep saying learn my language. You're not offering me no tools. I got you. So some tips before I give you actual tools. Some tips that I would say: listen to the music. Um, it might sound like what? Listen to the music, and then if you're with someone, ask them what certain phrases mean, because you'll hear certain phrases being repeated. Like love wantintin, right? That's Yoruba. That's a phrase that I've heard in different Nigerian songs. It means like small love, like give me small love. So when you hear that one phrase in other songs, you understand the context better. That one phrase, you'll understand the context of the entire song better. So listen to music in that language, right? And then watch TV shows, movies, or radio, or listen to the radio in that language. Tree radio is very difficult to listen to if you're not a native speaker. It's hard for me, but it helps. Watching Tree movies um, with the subtitles on. I don't think they have Tree in on Netflix, but I know like they have Spanish and French. So if you are watching, let's just say, like for me, Jane the Virgin, like if I rewatch it again, like I was able to pick up certain Spanish words without looking at the subtitles because the grandma spoke Spanish all the time, so I was able to like pick up certain Spanish phrases and stuff like that from the show. So, yeah. What else do I have? I'm looking at my iPad because I have everything written down here. Um, What else? What else? What else? Yeah. Be around people who speak the language. Have one trusted friend that speaks that language and have them show you one or two phrases or correct you when you have certain things. Have someone you can trust and you know that the correction isn't meant to be mean, it's to help you. Um, I have that with my cousin, I have that with my friends. Um, yeah, so it helps. There are also some TikTok accounts. I'm gonna put them either in the description or on the screen. Um, and if you're just listening, I'll let you know at the end of the video. The TikTok accounts. Actually, let me see if I can find them. I had them written down, but they're not here anymore. Look for resources, free resources that teach you different languages. There are resources that teach you different African languages, like they have teachers that teach you different African languages, like you take classes and you learn them. There are different TikTok accounts. There's a young lady by the name of Abigail who teaches you like basics, the tree basics. She even teaches you the difference between tree and fante. Follow creators that speak your language. Bro, I follow like 2 or 3 different Liberian creators. I'm able to pick up, and also I have friends that are Liberian. My cousin is half Liberian, so he's half Ghanaian, half Liberian. His mom is Liberian, but like I'm because of how he speaks around me, because of how my friend Tommy speaks around me. I follow different Liberian creators. I'm able to pick up on the Liberian English, and I'm able to understand what they're saying. So following creators, YouTubers, TikTokers that speak your native language also help because that's the media you consume the most. So you're going to be in your face every single day. Um, and yeah, those are just a few tricks and tips on how to, and I'll also link them in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll link them in the description box below. The different resources that I've used to help improve my tree, and different resources that you might be able to find helpful. I just want to close off this by saying culture is so important, and learning your culture is important, and it's never too late. I don't care what anybody tells you. If it's not too late to go back and get your high school diploma at 90, it's not too late to learn your culture. Ask questions, Google, TikTok, YouTube. It's there. Start using it and use it for research purposes. Use it to have a better understanding. My cousin told me that understanding your culture's folklore really can help you understand, like if they have different proverbs and folklore and things like that, understanding what those mean can really, really help you. Also, I heard that reading the tree Bible also helps um, with your tree as well. I haven't tried it, but it helps. Um, but yeah, just to close it out, like I understand a lot of people are traumatized, and I use the word traumatized because that's the most accurate one, about growing up and not learning their language and not understanding and feeling like they're left out. It's never too late. Learn your language, learn your culture, have something to pass on, or just something to hold dear to you to make you feel like you belong to something. And that way we can little by little start to embrace our culture and spread something um, onto our kids, whether it's learning how to make one cultural dish. If you know how to make one, you're good. You know one song, you're good. Be around people of your culture so they can help you. Community is one of the few ways that we can get through this. And we're all speaking our colonizer's tongue. That's not okay. Learn your native languages. Learn them. I got you. But that was it for this episode of Love Her Melanin. It's a little bit short. I'm gonna try to make them longer. It's just I feel like I'm talking you guys' ears off, and I can't just talk for like an hour unless someone else is here. So let me know what things you would like me to cover. I'm going to get back on the relational intelligence episode. I had to take a break. I finished the book. I took the notes. I will get back to breaking it down. Again, I still think you should buy the book. It's an amazing book. Let me know some different topics you guys want to hear, but make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at Love Her Melanin Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Love Her Melanin, and make sure you follow and give 5 stars if you're listening on any of the podcast platforms, and leave a review. I would love to read them. 5 stars is preferable, but I mean, hey, whatever you feel. And yeah. Make sure you stay beautiful, stay blessed, and stay black. And it's also Women's History Month. So shout out to all the beautiful women in history, specifically the Black women, who contributed so much to this beautiful country and helped move us forward. Bye.